Hi, this is David Casper. Today we are talking with Kelli Swan, an award-winning professional artist, published author, business owner, and graphic designer. Kelli's art pieces have been published on magazine and program covers, as well as within many publications. Her website, pencilplace.com, details the many facets of her expertise and features numerous examples of her many styles of art. From custom one-of-a-kind drawings to limited edition prints, note cards, specialty gifts, and more, you really get a sense of her style and depth from the very first page. You will also find a link to Kelli's blog, Pencil Drawings by Kelli Swan, on the front page as well, which will give you a glimpse of Kelli's most recent works and events. Her new book, From Creating Art to Creating Income, shows us all not only how to build a successful business in the artistic field, but how to build a successful life as well. Filled with hard facts and spiritual principles, Kelli's lessons contain wisdom that is useful for anyone. Good, how are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Excellent.
Just
Well,
sat down in my easy chair in anticipation of your call.
excellent. Kelli, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share some valuable information and insight like this. I really appreciate it. Now, let me see if I got this right. So, you started creating art at a very young age, and then you went to school for graphic design, and you worked in the industry until you started your own graphic design business, Signet Graphics, which you are still running successfully. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and this whole time you were creating and showing art and eventually found a way to incorporate all of these aspects of your media and design into one business. So let's start by going back all the way. How did you get started as an artist?
How did I get started in my professional career?
Actually, just kind of how you got started just in art in general. Is it something that you've always had a draw towards, or is it something that somebody led you along and you really decided that you liked it?
I have always had an interest in art as far back as I can recall. My mother tells me that when I was a child, she'd find me sitting out under the tree drawing pictures. I was drawn to pretty much every art class, every craft class, every art or craft endeavor, and Girl Scouts. I'm just always attracted to artistic things, particularly drawing, painting, anything in the fine art category. And I became very much more interested in drawing as junior high school and high school came along.
Now, who or what was your inspiration, or did you have like a mentor for drawing, somebody that you would watch draw, or is it something that you just kind of played around with and picked up as time went on?
My older brother and sister both have incredible drawing talent. My older brother used to do caricatures and cartoons, and my older sister used to draw horses all the time. Neither one of them actually pursued any sort of art career, but they had phenomenal talent, and I would be so amazed to see what they could sit down with a piece of sketch paper and do. I think that sparked a lot of my interest in wanting to try it myself. And then from there, of course, seeing what would happen in school and in classrooms and other people drawing, that inspired me as well.
Excellent. Now, what kind of artistic training did you have basically in school, or did you take any side classes or anything?
In junior high and high school, as well as elementary, I took all of the art classes that were available, took optional classes when that option was given, and then I also took supplementary art classes at the Canton Art Institute, which was the local art museum that offered continuing education type classes, and I took drawing and painting classes there as well. That
Okay.
was all prior to college, of course.
Sure. And you went to school for graphic art, so I imagine they had plenty of additional types of trainings and various art forms at that point. When did you first realize that you could actually make your living with art and the things that you've learned as opposed to working for somebody?
That would have been when I was working in downtown Cleveland for British Petroleum. I had a corporate job as a production coordinator for a communications department, and I was also doing a lot of the graphic production myself. It was a fairly intense, stressful job, as those jobs often are. And a friend of mine was self-employed, and she kept telling me, you know, what are you doing working for somebody else? You should be working for yourself. And at that point, I had no concept of doing such a thing. But
Right.
after hanging around her and other people that were self-employed, and then also observing the industry trends, which in the early 80s and mid 80s was when the outsourcing started. The tendency of, especially the corporations, to take people off their payroll and give those jobs to independent businesses and outsource or subcontract or whatever you call it. And through watching that and kind of observing that was happening a lot in the graphic arts industry at the corporate level, and seeing these independent, self-employed people and how happy they were, one morning I just woke up and said, it's now or never. I'm single with no real commitments, no children. I might as well try it. And I went into my boss and said, I want to quit my job. And he just about had a heart attack. And I said, no, you don't understand. I said, I want to quit my job, but I want to subcontract services back to you. So that's how it started. Was I left the payroll and became more freeform, subcontracted some of what I was doing back to him, and then also started picking up other downtown area clients in graphic design and the type of work I was doing at the time.
Wow, that is excellent, and that's a scary step for a lot of people. So congratulations for doing that.
Yeah,
That
I think
sounded like it worked out pretty well.
well, you've had a lot to do with it, because I don't know that I would be brave enough to do that today. And of course, back then, at that hour, I had no idea what might go wrong, which is ignorance is bliss. But
Right.
it was a good thing to do. I mean, I could say I tried it and forged forward, and one thing led to another, and eventually the business was built.
Oh, excellent. Now, what is like one or two things that you consider like a foundational event in your career and your business building that made probably the most positive difference in your success that you've got today?
I would say both meeting people that are self-employed and seeing the joy they had in working for themselves, and also developing an interest in metaphysics and quantum physics and law of attraction, and essentially how my attitude and emotions and my outlook on life affect what actually happens in my life.
Excellent, excellent. That is definitely very important, and I can see how that could make a big impact. So, how much attention do you pay to how other similar artists are displaying their works and their information about what they are creating?
Virtually none.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, I never really set myself up that way. I knew what I like to do and how I like to present it, and I do spend quite a bit of time trying to educate myself, like on the graphic design end, trying to stay up to date with software and things I need to know, and on the pencil drawing creative end, trying to keep my mind open to new ways to express myself there. But I don't look a whole lot at what other people are doing, just because of the pure tendency to compare and better or worse, and judgment and all of that. I think all of that can be left out and leave a much bigger space for creativity.
Right. Excellent. Now, you wrote a book called From Creating Art to Creating Income, which is available on lulu.com, lulu.com, in an on-demand print format. Can you tell me, how did this come about?
Well, I developed a web presence in about 2000, 2001. And over the years, my web presence has grown just because, the search engines will index you a little better as the website's up longer, and my websites have grown. And now I'm being found by more and more people. So especially in the last 3 or 4 years, I've been emailed by artists from all over the world. I mean, literally, emerging
Oh,
artists that would say, oh, I found your prints online, or I found your graphic design online. I'm just getting started. How do I make prints? Or how did you do this kind of pencil drawing? Or what kind of paper should I buy? Or what do I do with copyright? And I found that, and I'm happy to give people information. I think helping another person succeed is the best way to succeed yourself.
sure.
But it became time-consuming to answer the same questions over and over and over again, and try and be helpful to each individual person. And for a while, I thought about saving canned answers in a separate folder on my computer. And then I thought, well, maybe there's a more comprehensive way to do this. And I tried to assemble all these questions I've been asked over the years into entry-level marketing book for artists, to try and give them some idea of some of the things that I've